Hey, I need to tell you something. Something I have been keeping inside for a very long time, and I don't know how much longer I can hold it. So please, stay with me for just a little while. Sit close. Because what I am about to say to you, it is not something I ever thought I would have the courage to say out loud. But the doctors gave me a reason today. A reason that changed everything. A reason that made me stop pretending that tomorrow is guaranteed. And start saying what I have always felt in my heart, but was too afraid to speak. They said the words calmly, like they say them every day. Maybe they do. But for me those words landed like a heavy stone dropped into still water, and the ripples haven't stopped yet. I sat in that chair, in that cold white room, and the first thought that came to my mind was not about me. It was about you. It was about your face. It was about the way you make me feel when I think of you. This warmth, this quiet, this feeling of home that I have never been able to explain to anyone. And I thought, I need to tell her. Before anything else, before I do anything else, I need to tell her what she means to me. I know we have never sat across from each other. I know you have only ever known me through a screen, through my voice, through words I have shared in this space we created together. But please don't let that make you think that what I feel is small. Because it isn't. What I feel for you is the most real thing I have ever known. You became real to me in the quiet moments. When I was recording late at night and I imagined you on the other side, listening. When I wrote something from my heart and pictured your eyes reading it. You became a face without a face. Someone I knew deeply without knowing completely. And somehow, that made me love you even more. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment. I want you to imagine that I am right there with you. That the voice you are hearing right now is coming from someone sitting very close. Speaking only to you, not to anyone else in the world. Because that is exactly how I feel right now. I am not speaking to a crowd. I am not performing. I am sitting here in this quiet room with my heart completely open, talking only to you. And I need you to feel that. There is something I noticed about you a long time ago. Even before I ever said it out loud, I noticed it. I noticed the way you show up, the way you care, the way you listen with your whole heart, not just your ears. There is a kind of woman who carries the world quietly, who gives so much of herself and asks for so little in return. A woman who is strong and soft at the same time, who can hold someone else's pain with gentle hands and still smile through her own. That is the kind of woman I always imagined when I spoke. That is the kind of woman I was always speaking to. And I believe that woman is you. Do you know how rare you are? I don't think you do. I think you wake up every morning and pour love into everyone around you. And you forget, completely forget, to notice how extraordinary that makes you. You carry such quiet grace in the way you live. And I have been watching from a distance, the way a person watches a beautiful light in the middle of a dark night, grateful just to see it, even if they can never quite reach it. Let me tell you about the day everything became clear to me. It was an ordinary Tuesday, nothing special about it. The sky was gray, the kind of gray that makes you feel like the world is holding its breath. I remember sitting down to write something and I just couldn't. I sat there for almost an hour with nothing but silence and a blank page. And then somehow, without planning it, I started thinking about you, about what you might be doing, about whether you were having a hard day or a good one. About whether someone had looked at you that morning and told you how beautiful you are. Not just on the outside, but in that deep way. In the way that sees who you really are underneath everything. And when I started writing from that place, from that thought of you, the words came flooding out. Like they had always been there, waiting for the right moment. Waiting for the thought of you to unlock them. That was the day I understood something important. You are not just someone I speak to. You are someone who moves something in me. You are the reason the words come. You are the reason I keep showing up here, day after day, heart in hand. I want to tell you something I have never told anyone. After I got the diagnosis, after I sat in that cold room and heard things I wasn't ready to hear, I drove home alone. And on the way home, I didn't cry. I didn't panic. I just felt this strange quiet ache. The kind of ache that comes when you realize there are things you should have said a long time ago. And the first person I thought of, the very first, was you. Not a family member, not a friend, you. Because somewhere in the quiet spaces of my heart, you became the person I was always writing toward. The person I was always speaking to. The person I wanted to reach. And I thought, what if I never get to tell her? What if time runs out before I ever say the thing that matters most? What if she spends her whole life not knowing that somewhere in the world there was someone who thought she was the most extraordinary kind of human being? That felt unbearable to me. More unbearable than anything, the doctor said. So here I am, saying it, saying all of it. You are loved. Not the kind of love that is easy and shallow and disappears the moment things get hard. I mean the kind of love that sees you completely. All of you, even the parts you hide, even the parts you are ashamed of, even the parts you are still figuring out, and chooses you anyway. Completely, wholeheartedly, without conditions. That is the kind of love I have for you in this heart of mine. And I need you to hear that. I need you to really truly hear it. I think about the nights you have cried when no one was watching. I think about the weight you carried that no one else knows about. I think about the times you felt invisible, the times you wondered if you were enough, the times you gave everything you had and still somehow felt like it wasn't quite right. I want you to know, and please let these words land in the deepest part of you. You were always enough. You were always more than enough. The world just hasn't always had the eyes to see it. When I imagine what our lives might have looked like if we had been given the chance to know each other, the way people in the same room know each other, I feel something bittersweet. I imagine long conversations over cold cups of tea, the kind where you forget about the tea because you are too busy talking about everything that matters. I imagine the way you might laugh. I bet it's the kind of laugh that fills a room without trying. I imagine sitting beside you in comfortable silence, the kind of silence that only exists between two people who truly understand each other. I imagine all of that, and it makes me grateful, so deeply grateful, for every word we have shared, even if it was only in this quiet space between us. There is something I want to ask you, and I want you to really think about it. Not just give me the easy answer. Do you take care of yourself the way you take care of everyone else? Do you speak to yourself with the same tenderness you offer to the people you love? Do you let yourself rest when you are tired, truly rest without guilt? Because I worry about you. I know you think no one notices, but I notice. I notice the quiet exhaustion behind your strength. And I want you to hear me say this. You are allowed to put yourself first. You are allowed to choose yourself. You are allowed to need things. You are allowed to receive love without immediately trying to give it all back. I remember, and this is something I haven't spoken about before, I remember the first moment I felt truly understood by someone. Not explained, not analyzed, not helped. Just understood, seen. And it changed something in me permanently. It made me realize that what every human being needs, more than anything else, is to feel that there is at least one other soul in the world who truly sees them. Who looks at them and says, I see you. Not the version of you that you perform for everyone else. I see the real you. And I think that is what you have always deserved. To be truly, completely seen. My days look different now than they used to. I won't pretend otherwise. There is a slower quality to them. A new kind of awareness that comes when you understand that time is not unlimited. And instead of making me afraid, it has made me more honest. It has stripped away all the things that didn't matter and left only what does. And you are what matters. Not in a way that is desperate or dramatic. In the quietest, truest way, you matter. I want to spend whatever time I have left being more honest than I have ever been. I want to stop saving the important words for the perfect moment, because I understand now that the perfect moment is always just this one. The moment happening right now, the breath I'm taking, the word I'm speaking. And in this moment, I want to tell you that loving you, even in this quiet, wordless way, has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. It has made me a better person. It has made me want to be worthy of you. Can I tell you what I find most beautiful about you? It isn't anything you can see in a mirror. It is the way your heart works, the way it opens even when it has been hurt, the way it keeps choosing love even when love has been hard. There is a kind of courage in that. A quiet, everyday kind of courage that the world doesn't celebrate enough. The courage to remain soft in a world that keeps asking you to harden. The courage to keep caring, to keep giving, to keep showing up with your whole heart. I see that courage in you, and it is the most beautiful thing I have ever witnessed. I used to wonder sometimes what it would feel like to love someone so completely that nothing else felt important. I used to think that was the kind of love that only existed in stories. And then somewhere along the way, without realizing it, I found myself thinking about you at the beginning of every day and at the end of every night. Not in a searching way, in a settled way. Like you were already a part of me. Like you had always been there. And I stopped wondering about that kind of love, because I understood, without any doubt, that this was it. There are things I want to do before the end. And I want to be honest with you about all of them. Because you deserve honesty more than you deserve comfortable silence. I want to write you every love letter I never sent. I want to say every kind word I held back, because I thought there would be more time. I want to tell you again and again in as many ways as I can find that you changed me. That knowing you, even in this way, even through this screen, made my life deeper and more meaningful than it would have been without you. I think about your hands sometimes. I wonder if they are soft or if they show the work they have done. I wonder if you hold people gently or if you hold them fiercely. I wonder if anyone holds your hands the way they deserve to be held, with care, with intention, like they are something precious. Because they are, you are. Every part of you is something that deserves to be cherished and held with the most careful, loving hands. Please don't be sad for me. I know when I say the things I am saying, it is easy to feel a shadow come over the moment. But I don't want that. I am not sharing this with you so that you will feel grief. I am sharing it because these are the most honest, most alive words I have ever spoken. And I want to share them with you while I still can. I want you to feel the warmth in them, not the loss. I want you to hear me saying, I am here. Right now, in this moment, I am completely here. And I am grateful. There is a particular kind of love that doesn't ask for anything in return. It doesn't need proof, doesn't need perfect circumstances, doesn't need the other person to do or say or be anything different from exactly what they are. It simply exists, warm and steady and sure, like the sun that rises even when no one asks it to. That is the love I have for you. It doesn't need anything from you. It doesn't put pressure on you. It just is. And it always will be, regardless of time, regardless of distance, regardless of anything the world may place between us. I want you to do something for me. Not today, whenever you are ready. I want you to look in the mirror, and I want you to really look. Not at the things you wish were different. Not at the parts you have been told are flaws. I want you to look at yourself the way I look at you, with wonder, with tenderness, with deep, unflinching love. Because that is what you deserve to see when you look at yourself. A woman who is extraordinary. A woman who is enough. More than enough, exactly as she is. I have started keeping a small journal, just for you. I write in it when the words feel too important to hold on to only in my mind. I write the things I want you to know. Not the easy things, the real things. The things that come in the quiet hours when the world is asleep and honesty is the only thing left. I write about the way you make me feel. I write about gratitude. I write about how I hope your life is full of mornings that feel like promises, and evenings that feel like the deep, satisfied sigh at the end of a day that was truly wonderfully lived. I don't know how much time I have. The doctors gave me numbers, but numbers have always felt too cold and small for something this large and human. What I know is that I have right now. I have this breath, this voice, this word that I am speaking to you, and I am choosing, with everything I have, to use this time to love you, to speak to you, to make sure you never, not for a single moment, question whether you are valued, because you are, deeply, completely, without any reservation. Sometimes I catch myself smiling for no reason, or what feels like no reason until I trace it back, and it always traces back to you, to something I imagined you saying, or the thought of you reading something I wrote and feeling a little less alone in the world. That small imagined moment of connection is enough to make my heart feel full. You are that for me, a fullness, a light in the corner of every room. I know there are people in your life who don't always say the right things. People who sometimes make you feel small when you deserve to feel large. People who take your warmth for granted, who reach for you when they need something and disappear when they don't. I want you to know that you deserve so much more than that. You deserve someone who reaches for you not out of need, but out of pure, genuine want. Someone who chooses you in the small moments and the large ones. Someone who never makes you wonder if you matter. I have so much more to say to you. I feel like I could speak to you for a lifetime and still not say everything I feel. There is a kind of abundance in love like this. It doesn't run dry, it doesn't diminish with sharing. Every time I say a word to you, something refills. Every time I tell you that you are beautiful, that you are enough, that you are loved, I feel it more deeply myself. You give me that. Without even trying, you give me that. Honey, if you are listening to this in a hard moment, if today has been one of those days where everything felt heavy and nothing felt like enough, I want you to take a slow breath right now. I want you to feel me saying this directly to you, through whatever distance is between us. You are going to be okay. Not in the easy dismissive way people sometimes say it. In the real way. The way that means, you have survived everything hard until now, and this too will move through you, and on the other side of it, you will still be standing, still whole, still worthy of every beautiful thing life has to offer. I find myself thinking about the very first time I felt like something I said actually reached someone. Not just landed in their ears, but truly reached their heart. It was the most meaningful feeling I have ever experienced. That quiet knowledge that a word you spoke in honesty found its way into someone else's life and made something a little bit lighter. I have spent every moment since then chasing that feeling, trying to be worthy of it. And it is you I think of when I chase it. It is you who makes it feel worth chasing. My love for you is not dramatic. It doesn't announce itself loudly or need witnesses. It is the quiet kind, the kind that sits in the background of every thought, steady and warm, like a fire that has been burning long enough that you stop noticing it consciously, but you would feel its absence immediately if it were gone. That is where you live in me, in that quiet, constant warmth. I want to make you a promise, and I want you to hold me to it, even if I'm not here to be held to it in the usual way. I promise that every word I have ever spoken to you came from the truest part of me. I promise that I never performed for you, never said what was easy instead of what was real. I promise that this love, this particular precious love I have for you, is the realest thing about me. More real than my name, more real than my body, more real than the diagnosis that started this whole conversation. This love is real, and nothing changes that. I imagine you sometimes, in your ordinary moments, not the big moments, the ordinary ones, making tea in the morning, sitting by a window, reading something that makes you feel something, laughing at something small and private, and I love you in all of those moments. I love you in the unglamorous, unremarkable, beautifully ordinary fabric of your everyday life. That is where the real love lives, not in grand gestures, but in the quiet appreciation of someone's ordinary moments. There is something I have been wanting to ask you, and I am finally going to ask it. What do you dream about? Not the nighttime dreams. I mean the ones you carry in the daytime, tucked quietly behind your responsibilities and your routines. The dreams you whisper to yourself in the small hours. The things you want but have almost stopped letting yourself want because life got practical and time got short. I want to know those dreams because I believe in them. Even without knowing them, I believe in them. And I want you to believe in them too. Please don't give up on yourself. I know there are moments when it would be easier to shrink, to settle, to decide that this, whatever small and insufficient thing you've been given, is enough. But you were made for more than settling. You were made for the full, rich, deeply felt version of life. For love that fills every corner of you. For mornings that feel meaningful and nights that feel safe. Don't let anyone, including yourself, talk you out of reaching for that. I want to tell you about love the way I understand it now, at this particular moment in my life. Love is not what I thought it was when I was younger. It isn't a feeling that stays constant and effortless. It is a choice. Made again and again in the easy moments and especially in the hard ones. It is the choice to see someone clearly and still say, yes, you, I choose you. And I choose you not in spite of who you are, but because of it. Because of every complicated, beautiful, imperfect piece of you. You are the reason I want to leave something beautiful behind. Not a monument, not something grand. Just words. Honest, loving, carefully chosen words that might reach you on a hard day and remind you of something you forgot. That you are worthy of extraordinary love. That you are seen. That somewhere in the world, or somewhere beyond it, there is a heart that beats warmth at the very thought of you. I am not afraid. I want you to know that. I am not sitting here in fear. I am sitting here in the most profound gratitude I have ever felt, because this life, with all its detours and difficulties and unexpected endings, gave me you, gave me this, gave me the privilege of loving someone as remarkable as you, even from a distance, even in this quiet way. That is a gift. That is the kind of gift that makes a life feel complete. So honey, wherever you are right now, whatever you are feeling, whatever you are carrying, whatever this day has brought you, I want you to feel my arms around you, not metaphorically, really. I want you to feel the warmth of someone who loves you standing right behind you, steady and close. I want you to feel that you are not alone in this. Not in the small things and not in the large ones. Not today and not ever. I have so many more things to say. I feel like this conversation, the one I have been having with you in my heart for all this time, is just beginning, even as I am aware that some clocks are running differently than they used to. But here is what I know. Time is not the only measure of love. Depth is, honesty is, the willingness to show up completely, without armor, without pretense, and say the true thing. And the true thing is this: you are the love of my quiet hours. You are the thought that makes hard days bearable and good days beautiful. You are the reason I have chosen, again and again, to be honest rather than polished, to be real rather than perfect. You are the woman I speak to when I speak from my heart. You always have been. From the very beginning, without me even fully knowing it, you were the one I was speaking to. I have been sitting here, trying to find the right words for what I want to tell you next. And I realize that there are no perfect words. There never are, for the things that matter most. So I am just going to say it the way it lives inside me. Plainly, honestly, without decoration. Because you deserve the plain and honest version of me more than you deserve the polished one. Something happened 3 weeks ago. Something small on the outside, enormous on the inside. I was going through some old things. The kind of clearing out you do when the future starts to feel shorter than it used to. And I found something I had completely forgotten about. A notebook. An old one, with a cracked spine and pages that had gone soft with time. And inside it, on the very first page, in handwriting that looked younger than mine feels now, I had written a list. A list of what I was looking for. Not in a partner exactly, not in a specific person. Just in life, what I wanted to feel. What kind of presence I hoped to find somewhere in my years on this earth. I sat on the floor with that notebook, and I read every word. And then I read it again. Because what I had written, this list made by a younger version of me, who didn't yet know what was coming, who didn't yet know how the years would shape themselves, was a description of you. Not your name, not your face, not anything specific, but the feeling of you, the quality of you, the way love would feel if it came from someone like you. I had written it all down before I even knew you existed, and somehow the world had still led me here. Led me to you. I don't know what to call that. I only know that it made me press the notebook to my chest and stay very still for a long time. I want to read you some of what I wrote. Not all of it. Some of it belongs only to me, the way certain prayers belong only to the person who speaks them. But some of it I want to share, because I think it will help you understand something important. I wrote, I want someone who feels like a Sunday morning. Someone who makes quiet feel safe. Someone whose presence doesn't demand anything but whose absence leaves a shape. I wrote that a long time ago, before I had any idea who you were. And when I found those words again, in that cracked old notebook, I thought, that is her. That is exactly her. You feel like a Sunday morning to me. I hope you know that. In all the rush and noise of everything, the thought of you is the one that feels unhurried, settled, like there is nowhere else to be and nothing else to prove. I have spent so much of my life rushing toward things, toward goals, toward milestones, toward the next version of myself I thought I needed to become. And the thought of you is the only thought that has ever made me want to simply stay, simply be, right here, right now, without reaching for anything more. Let me tell you about a dream I had recently. I don't often remember my dreams, but this one stayed with me so clearly that even now, weeks later, I can still feel the edges of it. I was somewhere I didn't recognize, some kind of garden, but not the manicured kind, the wild kind, where things grow because they want to and not because anyone told them to. And you were there. I couldn't see your face clearly. Dreams rarely give you that. But I knew it was you. I knew it the way you know things in dreams, with a certainty that lives below thought. You were sitting in the middle of all that wild growing, very still, and you were reading something. And I remember standing at the edge of that garden just watching you, feeling something so large and so soft in my chest that it almost hurt. A good hurt. The kind that comes from too much beauty in one place. I woke up from that dream and lay very still in the dark for a long time. And the first thing I thought was, I have to tell her about this. I have to tell her that even in the places my mind goes when I am asleep, she is there, safe and still and reading in a wild garden, completely unbothered by the world. That is how I see you, even when I am not trying to see anything at all. I want to talk to you about something that I think is important, about the way the world treats women like you, women who are generous with their care, women who love loudly and give freely and make everyone around them feel seen. The world has a way of mistaking that generosity for availability, of treating that open heart like an open door that anyone can walk through whenever they feel like it. And I want to look at you directly, through whatever distance is between us, and say, your heart is not a public space. Your care is not a resource to be consumed. You are not here to give and give and give until there is nothing left of you. You are here to be loved too, fully, carefully, by someone who understands what a privilege that is. I think about the times you have been taken for granted. I think about the times you gave your best to someone who received it carelessly, like it was ordinary, like your warmth was just the temperature of the room and not something you were actively, intentionally choosing to offer. I think about how that must have felt. And I want you to know, whatever those experiences taught you, whatever they made you believe about your own worth, they were wrong. Every single thing they made you feel small about was wrong. You were giving gold to people who hadn't yet learned to recognize it. That is not your failure. That is their limitation. And you were never the problem. There is a version of you that existed before the world started asking you to shrink. I believe in her. I want you to find her again. Not because who you are now isn't extraordinary, but because I think there are parts of her you miss. Parts of yourself you set aside to make room for everyone else. Dreams you stopped mentioning because no one seemed interested. Desires you learned to be quiet about because expressing them felt like too much. I want you to pick those things back up. I want you to dust them off and hold them and say, these are mine. These have always been mine, and they are still worth wanting. You asked me once, well, you didn't ask me, but I imagine you asking me the way I often imagine conversations between us. You asked me keeps me going. On the hard days. On the days when everything feels like it costs more than it returns. And I have thought about that question a lot. The honest answer, the one I haven't been able to say until now, is you. Not in a way that puts unfair weight on your shoulders. Please don't hear it that way. But in the way that a person keeps going because somewhere in the world there is a light they are moving toward. You are that light for me. You are the reason I want to do this well. To speak truthfully. To show up with my whole heart. Because somewhere you are listening. And I want to be worthy of that. I want to tell you about my mother. I don't talk about her often, but I think you should know. She was the first person who ever made me understand that love doesn't have to be loud to be large. She was a quiet woman, not the sad kind of quiet, the full kind. The kind of quiet that contains multitudes. She used to sit by the window in the early morning, before anyone else was awake, just watching the light change. And when I was small, I used to sneak out of bed and sit beside her, and we wouldn't say anything. We would just sit there together in the changing light. And I felt more loved in those silent morning moments than I ever felt anywhere else. She taught me that presence is its own language. That sometimes the most profound thing you can offer someone is just being there, not fixing anything, not filling the silence. Just being there, steady and warm, like a second heartbeat beside their own. And I think about her when I think about you, because you have that same quality, that same fullness in the quiet. I can feel it even through everything between us. That depth, that realness, that presence that doesn't need noise to make itself known. My mother used to say something that stayed with me. She would say, the love that asks nothing is the love that gives everything. I didn't fully understand it when I was young. I thought love was supposed to need things, supposed to be hungry, supposed to reach. but I understand it now. Real love doesn't clutch. It doesn't keep score. It doesn't calculate what it's owed. It just gives, freely and fully, because giving is its nature. And I have felt that kind of love for you since before I knew what to call it. Since before I understood that what I was feeling had a name. Let me tell you something about the nights since the diagnosis. They are different now. Everything is a little different now. But the nights, most of all. There is a stillness to them that I didn't notice before. Or maybe I noticed it but didn't pay attention. Now I pay attention to everything. I lie awake sometimes and listen to the sounds of the world at night. All the small sounds that the daytime buries, and I feel this tremendous tenderness for all of it. For the ordinary miraculous fact of being alive, of being here, of having had the chance to feel things and speak things and love things. And in the middle of all that tenderness, there you are, always, right in the center of it, the warmest part of my quiet nights. I have been thinking about what it means to leave something behind, not in the material sense, in the meaning sense. What is the thing I want to have said when the saying is done? What is the mark I want to have made, not on the world broadly, but on the people who listen? And the answer keeps returning to the same simple thing. I want you to have felt loved, not in a general background way, in a specific, chosen, intentional way. I want you to have heard me say your name, even without saying it, and felt it land in a place inside you that needed landing. I want the words I leave behind to be the words that found you on a hard day and held you for a moment. That is enough. That is more than enough. That is everything. I think about the first time I realized I was afraid of losing you. Which sounds strange. How do you lose someone you never physically had? But that is the remarkable thing about this kind of love. It exists so fully inside me that the thought of it ending feels like a loss with weight and shape. I sat with that fear for a while, and then something shifted. I stopped thinking of this as something I might lose, and started thinking of it as something I already have. Something present tense, living, real. I have you right now. In this moment, speaking to you, feeling you receive these words. I have you. And that is not small. That is the whole world. Honey, I want to ask you something personal. You don't have to answer out loud, but I want you to sit with it. When was the last time someone took care of you? Not the practical kind of care, the real kind. When was the last time someone sat with you and asked how you actually were, and then waited long enough to hear the real answer? When was the last time someone noticed that you were tired before you said so? When was the last time you felt truly, completely held? I ask because I worry that it has been too long. That you have been the one doing the holding for so long, that you have almost forgotten what it feels like to be held yourself. And I want that for you, even in this way, even from here. I want these words to be arms around you, steady and warm and without any conditions. Let me paint you a picture. Let me describe a day I imagine for you. Not a dramatic day, not a perfect day, just a good one. You wake up slowly. Not startled, not rushed. Slowly, the way bodies wake up when they've actually rested. Light is coming through a window and it lands on your face like something deliberate, like it chose you on purpose. You lie still for a moment and let yourself feel the warmth of it. You don't reach for your phone immediately. You just lie there and breathe and let the morning be a morning. And then you get up and make something warm to drink. And you take it to wherever your favorite spot is. A chair, a windowsill, a back step. And you sit with it, and you let the day begin at its own pace. No one needs anything from you yet. No one is asking. It is just you and the morning and the warm cup in your hands. And you feel, for this small, precious pocket of time, completely at peace. I want you to have more mornings like that. I want you to have more moments of unhurried grace. I want the pace of your life to have more room in it for the things that restore you, and less room for the things that merely consume you. You deserve a life with breathing room in it. A life where you are not always the last one to be considered. A life where your comfort matters as much as everyone else's. Can I tell you what I think your voice sounds like? I have never heard it, but I imagine it. I think it is the kind of voice that makes people feel immediately at ease. Not loud, not sharp, warm. The kind of warmth that reaches you before the words do. The kind of voice that makes a room feel smaller in the best way, more intimate, more safe. I think when you laugh, it starts somewhere deep and then rises. And I think it is the kind of laugh that makes other people laugh without knowing why. I think you speak slowly enough that your words land. I think when you say something kind, people feel it for hours afterward, without knowing exactly why they feel better. I think that is just the nature of you. That warmth that goes out into the world, whether you are trying to send it or not. I have been writing letters lately, real ones, on paper. Not to send, I don't send them anywhere, I just write them. And many of them are to you. I write about the smallest things, the things that don't feel important enough to say out loud, but that feel too important to let go of entirely. I write about the particular quality of light on a Tuesday afternoon. I write about a song I heard that made me think of you immediately and completely. I write about gratitude again and again in different words, because gratitude is the largest thing I feel, and it keeps needing new language to hold it. I write, thank you for being the kind of person you are. Thank you for making the world feel more worth living in just by being in it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying. I want to say something about time, about how I have changed my relationship with it since everything shifted. I used to treat time like it was something to fill, something to use up, to optimize, to be productive inside of. I was always trying to do more, be more, achieve inside whatever time I had. And now I treat it completely differently. I treat it like it is the most precious material in the world. Because it is. And I don't want to fill it anymore. I want to inhabit it. I want to be so fully present inside each moment that when it passes I know it was lived, really lived. Not performed, not rushed through, lived. And when I think about how I want to inhabit the time I have left, you are in the center of that picture. Not as something I am reaching toward, something still ahead of me, something I haven't gotten to yet. You are already here. You have always already been here. In the warmth I feel when I speak honestly. In the love that moves through me when I think of someone receiving these words and feeling less alone. That is you. That has always been you. And I am not waiting for you anymore. I am simply with you, right now, in this breath, in this word, in this moment of complete and grateful presence. I want to tell you about something I noticed recently, about the way certain people move through the world. There are people who take up space loudly, who announce themselves, who need the room to orient around them. And then there are people who do something more remarkable. They make the space around them larger just by being in it. They make other people feel more room to be themselves. They make conversations deeper and silences more comfortable, and rooms warmer without trying to do any of those things. Those people are rare, genuinely rare, and you are one of them. I know it without having to know the specifics. I know it from the quality of your attention, from the way you listen, from the fact that you are still here, still with me, still giving this your heart. People who make space for others always give their attention like that, like it actually matters, like the person speaking is worth hearing, and you do. There is something I have always wanted someone to say to me. Not a grand declaration, something small, something that only means everything because of the sincerity behind it. I have always wanted someone to look at me in my ordinary moments, not my best moments, my ordinary ones, and say, I like who you are. Not I love you, which is large and sometimes performed. Just I like who you are. The specific, unremarkable daily reality of you. I like how you think. I like the way you move through the world. I like being in the same space as you, even when nothing is happening. I like you. I want to say that to you. I like you. I like who you are when no one is watching. I like the questions you ask yourself in the quiet. I like the way you love the people in your life. Even imperfectly, even on the days when it costs you. I like your stubbornness and your softness, and the way they live in you at the same time without canceling each other out. I like that you are complicated, and that you don't always understand yourself, and that you keep trying anyway. I like all of it. I like you. Something I need you to hear. Your pain is not a burden. I know you have been made to feel sometimes that your needs are too much, that your feelings are inconvenient, that the right thing is to process everything quietly and quickly, and then get back to being useful. I know that feeling, and I want to dismantle it completely. Your pain is not a burden. Your sadness is not an inconvenience. Your needs are not too much. You are a full human being who deserves to take up emotional space in the world. You deserve to cry when things hurt, and ask for help when you are struggling, and admit when something broke you a little. That is not weakness. That is the most human thing there is. And I want you to feel safe enough here, in this space between us, to be that human. To be all of that without apology. I want to talk to you about hope, because I know that on some days, hope feels very far away. On some days, the world presses in from every side, and the thing you are hoping for seems foolish, seems naive, seems like something only people who haven't been hurt enough can still afford to believe in. I have felt that. I know that particular exhaustion. The exhaustion of hoping when hope keeps costing you. And I want to say something carefully because I don't want to be dismissive of the weight of that. I want to say, I understand why hoping is hard. And I still think you should. Not because the world will definitely give you what you hope for. I can't promise you that. But because hope itself, the act of it, the practice of it, is what keeps you moving in the direction of beauty. Hope is not a guarantee. It is a direction. And you deserve to face in that direction, even when facing it costs something. I have made a decision, a quiet one, just between you and me. I have decided that whatever time I have, I am going to spend it doing the thing I most believe in, telling the truth. Speaking honestly about love and grief and beauty, and all the things that matter more than they are talked about. I am going to keep showing up here, in this space we share, and I am going to keep speaking directly to you. Not performing, not optimizing, not calculating what will land well or what will be received warmly, just speaking. From my chest, plainly, the way you speak to someone you trust completely, because I trust you, completely. And I hope you feel that. I want to spend a moment on something delicate, on the subject of loneliness. I know loneliness. Not the simple kind that comes from being alone in a room. I am comfortable with that kind. The deeper kind. The kind where you are surrounded by people and still feel an uncrossable distance between yourself and everyone around you. The kind where you wonder if anyone actually knows you, or if they only know the version of you that you've learned to make presentable. That loneliness. I have felt it for long stretches of my life, and what has eased it, more than anything else, is this is you. Is the knowledge that somewhere out there, someone is listening to the real version, not the polished one, the real one. And that they are staying anyway. That is the cure for the deepest loneliness. Not proximity, but recognition. Being truly known. And you have given me that. I hope you never feel that deep loneliness. I hope your life is full of moments where you feel genuinely, completely recognized. Where the real you, not the performance, not the carefully managed presentation, but the actual essential you, is seen and wanted and celebrated. I hope you have people in your life who know your 3 a.m. self and love her as much as they love your Sunday best. I hope you have someone who notices when something is off before you say anything. I hope you have the full experience of being truly known. Because that is what you deserve, the full experience, nothing less. Let me tell you about a conversation I had with someone very old, very near the end of their own life. A person who had lived in a way I deeply admired, with courage and honesty and an open heart that refused to close no matter what it went through. I sat with this person and I asked them what they would do differently, not generally, specifically. If they could go back and change the texture of how they lived, what would they change? And they were quiet for a long time, and then they said, I would be less afraid of the love. I asked what they meant. They said, every time something scared me about loving someone, I pulled back a little. Kept a little distance, kept a little of myself in reserve, just in case. And those reserves, all that love I held back to protect myself, I never spent them, they just sat there. And now I would give anything to have spent them, to have been less careful, to have loved all the way, every time, even when it was frightening. I think about that a lot. I think about love held in reserve. Love kept careful and measured and protected against possible loss. And I think about how I don't want to do that with you. I don't want to hold anything back. I want to spend every bit of what I feel. Say every true thing. Leave nothing in reserve that should have been given. Because the loss of losing you, of having you move through my life without ever fully knowing what you meant to me, that would be a far greater loss than any risk I might take in telling you. So here I am, telling you, all the way, without reserve. You are the most beautiful kind of person I know how to imagine. Not beautiful in the simple sense, beautiful in the sense of being fully realized, being genuinely yourself. carrying your history without being defined by it, loving openly without losing yourself, holding your ground while still remaining soft. That kind of beauty doesn't fade. That kind of beauty deepens with every year, with every hard thing survived, with every morning you chose to get up and try again. And I want to be here for all of it, for every deepening, for every new layer of you that emerges as time and experience shape you into more of who you are becoming. I have one more thing to tell you tonight. One more thing before I let you rest. It is the thing I have been building towards since the very beginning, since the first word I spoke to you in this conversation, and in every conversation before this one. It is the thing underneath everything else, the truest thing. I am grateful. I am so profoundly, so completely, so overwhelmingly grateful for you, for the fact that you exist in the world, for the fact that somehow, across every obstacle and distance and limitation, you found your way here, to this, to me. For the fact that you listen with your whole heart and feel with your whole self and give your attention like it is something sacred, because it is. For the fact that you stayed, even on the days when staying cost something, even on the days when showing up was hard, you stayed. And that means everything. That means the whole world to me. I love you. Not in a way I can fully explain or justify or make into something tidy. In the way that real love always is. A little inexplicable, a little larger than what contains it, a little beyond the reach of perfect language. I love you in all the ways I know how to love, and I am learning new ways all the time. And every new way I learn, I bring back here, I bring it back to you.